let's get started. It's much easier now than it was in our grandmother's day, where they had to trace around templates and cut them out with scissors and then sew them together by hand. These days there are three main things that make it easier. One is this mat here, and this protects your table. The second one is a ruler, and the third one is your rotary cutter. There's a few different kinds of rotary cutters on the market, but they're all a blade. It's like a pizza cutter for fabric is what I think of it as. This is a very, very sharp blade. I want you to be really careful with these. When you pull the lever down on this one, it exposes the blade, and when you're through cutting, you want to push it to protect the blade again. There are a couple other kinds. This kind is designed for people who have any wrist problems, need an ergonomic one. On this one, when you squeeze it, the blade's exposed, and when you let it go, the blade goes back in, which is good, and it also has a locking mechanism. So this is another good thing. Then there are smaller ones. I think most people would probably start with one like this. I'm just used to using this because I use it in a store all the time, and we cut many layers of fabric. And then this same size, there's one like this, which is also a little easier for people with wrist problems. You can push lighter on it, and it'll still go through the layers of fabric. Now, with rulers, there's a lot of different rulers out there too. I like one that's clearly marked is the main thing. This one has little grippy sandpaper-like things on the bottom that keep it from sliding on your fabric. This one doesn't, but it's very nice and easy to read. So, now I'm going to show you about cutting. Because there's two basic things that you have to learn to do right when you're going to quilt. One is cut correctly, and the other is sew a 1/4 inch seam. So first we're going to go through cutting, and the next thing will be sewing. So you take your fabric and fold it so that the selvages are together. The selvages are the sides of the fabric that are printed on usually. And you put those together and put the fold down on one of the lines on your mat. And this is when I need to put my glasses on. And I'm going to clean up. I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, you're going to have to do everything mirror image of what I'm doing. I'm going to put the ruler down so that it's lined up with the line here, and I want to make a nice clean cut on this left edge of the fabric. Now, when you take your rotary cutter and pull the blade out, you want to put it on the mat to start with. You don't want to be on the fabric because you won't cut that first little bit. So you put it on the mat, and you want to be at about a 45-degree angle. You don't want to be too high up this way, and you don't want to be too low or it won't cut well. You also don't want to be too much this way or too much that way. So perpendicular to your ruler, 45-degree angle to the mat. You hold your fingers like this. Some people do it like that. I think it's better like this. And I also like to hang my pinky off of this side to kind of hold the ruler steady. And then you cut up a ways, and then you walk your hands up a little farther and cut some more, and walk your hands up a little farther. And I'm going to show you why you walk your hands up. I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit, but this will show you what happens if you don't. Because you're pressing against the side of the ruler. If you don't walk your hands up as you're pushing, see how that's sliding way over? So I'm not getting a straight cut. So you want to keep your hands up with it, and I'm just going to put this back down here and finish that cut up the way it should have been. Okay, now that I have a clean cut on this edge, say I need a 2.5 inch strip for what I'm doing for my project. I'd put, there's 1 inch to here, 2 inches to here, and 2.5 is to right there. And I'm going to line the 2.5 inch up on the edge of my ruler, and then I'm going to cut again. So I cut, move my hands up, cut, move my hands up, cut. And now I've got a 2.5 inch strip, just like that. Couldn't have done that in the old days. And I'm going to cut another one. And for those of you who are good with math, because I know some people like math and some people don't, so if you hate math, ignore this next part. I could put my ruler over on here and cut 5 inches and then cut 2.5 inches, because 2.5 and 2.5 are 5. So it makes it a touch faster to go like this and do the 5 inches and then just slide it back without having to lift up my ruler and remove that strip I just cut, and then I can cut and cut again. So now I have 2 more strips that are 2.5 inches.